Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and today I'm reviewing a security camera or an IP camera from a new vendor which is called Anran, and the product is the Anran Q1. They contacted me a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it's going to be a long relationship or whether I'm going to be reviewing just this product from them, but only time will tell. So this is a 5 megapixel solar battery camera, and to be honest, I'm very happy with this because I think it really, ticks all the boxes which, makes a good battery operated camera. A couple of things. I mean, yeah, of course it has batteries and it has a solar panel which can keep the whole camera charged up. So it works on Wi-Fi. So basically you can put it anywhere, wherever you have, Wi-Fi coverage, because obviously it is not restricted whether you have power or not. And in order to get proper alerts and proper motion detection, it uses a PIR sensor. So it detects the motion based on a motion sensor, not by looking at the image. In the settings, there are options to turn on human detection. I'm guessing it basically just manipulates the sensitivity of the sensor, the PIR sensor, but it seems to be working remarkably good, I have to say. And it also has a floodlight during the evening, and then you walk by, it detects motion and it automatically turns on the lights as well. And I think they are pretty decent lights. I think you are going to see some, sample footage when it turns on. And besides that, I mean, nowadays these security cameras are, really good quality. I would say, the issues of, bad quality sensors are the past. So I'm quite happy with, the type of or the quality of footage it creates, especially if you are looking at over the phone, obviously with a low resolution. But the samples that you're going to see in this video are the ones that are downloaded directly from the SD card. And yes, it has the SD card that you can put in. So in that SD card, it's going to record all the motion detection footage. Because it's a battery camera, it's not going to do 24/7 detection, 24/7 recording. It only records when motion is detected. And if you subscribe to a monthly plan, then you can store this footage in the cloud as well. And of course, just like any of these cameras nowadays from independent brands, they come with a mobile app, so you would be able to access this camera anywhere where you have internet access, whether it would be Wi-Fi access when you are at home or 4G when you are away and you want to check on your camera at home. Okay, so that was a pretty long intro already. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show some unboxing. So even before I install it, I'm just going to go through the various parts that makes this camera work. I already know that I made an error when I was doing the unboxing, because when I was looking at the front of the camera, I thought that some of these, what are the lights? I thought those are like infrared lights, but those are actually the floodlights. So there's 4 floodlights. And after that, I'm going to show, well, just quickly go through the mounting, but it is fairly easy. And then we are going to look at the mobile app and see how the features look like, what you can do in the mobile app, and how you can administer the camera and look at the footage. Okay, so let me just have a quick unboxing now, because I wanted to show you the contents of everything before I start mounting it outside. So I try to place it as far as I can, but yeah, it's a big box because there is a lot of stuff in it. So probably I'm just going to take everything from it one by one. So first of all, we get some user manual, and we also have some sticker. So we can place it somewhere, and this user manual is actually on as you can see, 5 languages. So German, French, Spanish, Italian, and English. I think it's, decent, sort of decent content. Like it goes into the details as well. And next we get a solar panel. So a regular size solar panel. And it comes with I haven't measured this cable, but it looks like a fairly long cable. I always place a solar panel very close to the camera, so I don't need so much cable. But again, if you need to place the camera maybe on the shady side of your building, and then you have enough cable to go around, or maybe go up on the roof or something like that. So I think that's nice. We also get a few drilling templates. The reason we have two, because there is one for the camera and one for the solar panel. We also have, we have some screws. There is a plastic plug. I'm going to show you where that one goes. There is a mount for the camera, and there is a USB cable, micro USB, which I'm not going to use because, well, I'm going to use the solar panel. But if you don't have a solar panel, or if you want to charge the camera from, let's say, a battery bank or something, or run it from 5 volts, then you can use this USB cable. And let me just do the camera at the end. So we have a mount for the solar panel, and we also have a few more screws. And let me show you this mount for the solar panel. So it's very similar to the ones that I have seen from other makers. So there is this nut here, and then when you loosen the nut, then the whole thing becomes loose. So you can just rotate this around, and you can rotate this one as well. And when you have the desired position, then you fix everything with this, and now it's rigid. And then you put the solar panel here, and then you use this nut or screw to tighten, nut to tighten the solar panel. So yeah, a fairly standard business. And then finally the camera. Let me just get this out of the box. It's fairly big, it's fairly heavy. So this is how she looks like. And so I'm going to unpeel the bits and bobs, so these plastic films, and that was it. Oh, I think the film is on. Anyway, I will check this off camera. But we have the main camera body that you can see here. So we have that's the lens, and this is the infrared motion detection, and then you have infrared LEDs. So it definitely has the motion detection, which is good because it will always give you much better results in terms of motion detection than if it would just use the image itself. And probably it's going to it also makes the hardware much more easy as well, because it doesn't have to like process the image. It can just get the trigger from the motion detection. And I think, to be honest, I think it's a better solution. You can see everything rotates here, and then it rotates there as well. And you have this big mount with the 2 Wi-Fi antenna on the top, or that. So that's where you plug in the micro USB from the solar panel or the cable, and also you can use the plug to plug this up if you only want to charge it occasionally. And yeah, there is not much else here, just some model number and serial number and some barcodes. And yeah, there is another connection here. So this is the usual stuff. So that's where the micro SD card goes for local storage. And then there is also like a reset and a power button. So, and obviously that will go in there. And then if the camera rotates, then that's going to be hidden. So as when the camera looks down, that's not going to be visible. I have to say, mounting the camera is fairly easy. As I showed you in the unboxing, there is a plate that the camera itself attaches to, and it has a couple of screw holes, so I just screwed it in while I use this small, wooden child's house that I mounted the camera, because it has a good view back and forth of my garden. So I screwed it onto the wall, and then you just slide the camera on, and it holds the camera securely. So that's fine. And then in terms of the the solar mount, again, it has 3 screws, so you just screw that onto whatever surface you want to mount it on, and then you twist on the solar panel, and then you use the ring to secure the solar panel in the desired location. And then you have this ring at the base that you can loosen and tighten. So when you loosen it, then the whole arm can move freely. So you align your solar panel and you tighten it, and everything becomes tight. And as you can see, I've taken this cable from the solar panel and I plugged it into the camera, and that's it. So when you where you plug in the USB-C cable, sorry, not USB-C, micro USB cable from the solar panel to the camera, there is a rubber cover. So obviously you keep that on because that creates a weather seal, but that weather seal is also, creates a very tight seal around the connectors. So you make sure that you push that in. Probably use a little bit more force than you usually would do, because that's when you push the connector through the rubber seal, and that's when it creates a proper connection between the solar panel and the whole camera. So yeah, that's it. And then I was moving the camera around, and it was already working. I'm not going to go through the setup process, but you download the app, you create an account, you sign into that account, and then you click on the plus button to add the new camera to your account. And then it has a couple of screens when it's going to tell you what to do, but also it has voice prompts in English. So it's actually also going to say you that, connect the camera, and then, provide your Wi-Fi, and it only works on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So you provide your Wi-Fi name and the password, and it creates a QR code, and then you point that QR code to the camera, and that's how you transfer the settings over the camera. And then you just have to wait for like half a minute, and your camera connects to the Wi-Fi, and then it appears in your account, and then it's working. So I suggest that you do it indoors, and then when everything is working, you just go to the place where you want to mount it. Obviously, assuming that ensuring that it has good Wi-Fi coverage, and then that's it. Okay, so this is how the application looks like. Actually, I'm seeing some unique features in this application. I know that for most of the IoT application, you can create multiple homes, but I don't think I have seen this for security cameras. So if you are committed to this brand and you want to install these cameras in multiple locations, you can just arrange them into separate homes, and then within homes you can also arrange them into different rooms. So you can easily find cameras that way. And also there is a thing for online customer service, so that's nice as well. And then you have also an option here as well, which we are going to look at a little bit later. But let me just quickly go through the main features. So obviously, if you select the camera, then you have to wait a little, and then the feed loads. And I'm doing this review in the evening, so all of the footage is going to be night footage. But you can see that I have a direct feed from the camera, and you have the basic information here on the screen. You see bit rate, you can see the Wi-Fi signal, so you can quickly verify that the location that you install the camera has a good Wi-Fi coverage, and it also shows you the battery state of charge. And then, so this is your live panel, and then you can see that you can take a screenshot. You can do push to talk, which is not going to work because I'm doing the screen recording, but it has two-way audio, so you can talk, and then whoever is on the camera side can hear what you are talking. You can also record. So these are the screenshot and the record. Those are when you create a recording on your phone, and then the motion detection is enabled, and then you have the PTZ functions here, which is only PT because it pan and tilts. It doesn't have the Z, which is the zoom, but you can see that it works. And by the way, I think I've seen the footage previously as well, where I was moving the camera around, and it has a good degree of motion. It definitely covers the area, and it can also directly look under itself. So if you need like that, I think that's a good feature as well. And then I can enable the light from here. So now you can see that I have turned on the light, and actually I can see the camera from inside because it's right outside my window. You see the window with the light, that's where I am. So yeah, and then when you turn the lights on, then obviously the view turns to daytime view, so color view instead of the this black and white IR view. I could even hear the the relay clicking when I switched on the light. And you have a couple of other features. So yeah, you can activate the siren. I mean, I hate these siren features, but yeah, you can do that as well. And then maybe you can do like an audio warning and strobe light, and then you also have these different modes. So you can have, you know, black and white night vision and the full color night vision, or the intelligent vision, which detects what is the best for the current light environment. So I just leave it on intelligent, but you can play around with that. And by the way, the only thing I noted, probably the only criticism I have with this whole app, is that you could see how long it takes for the preview to load, and sometimes it takes significantly longer. And I couldn't really figure out. So it's like, let's say, one case out of 10, it just keeps loading, and then it just fails. And then I leave the screen and come back and it works. So, but in most of the time it loads in, I don't know how much was it, like in 4 or 5 seconds. So that was my experience so far. And then here on the sort of in the middle where you see live history and cloud, I can click on the history, and this is where I can review all my recordings. For example, here, actually, this is a good example. You can see that I was walking right in the background, which is like behind the tree. So at this time, the camera was set to detect more human detection, and the sensitivity was set to fairly high. But you can see how far I was, and it was able to detect me even in that distance. So I think that's, you know, that's pretty good. So obviously what you can see here is that on the timeline, you can see the various recordings. So these are the the blue dots, and then you can just move the timeline around, and then it's just going to load the corresponding recording. And you can also go to the calendar. So it's going to show you, well, it's going to highlight the dates wherever it had some recording for that date. And yeah, you can go into alerts. So it is going to show you the various motion detection periods. So you can review them that way, or you can just move the, yeah, that's how the night light looks like. And I think it turned on the floodlight as well. So you can do these various ways. And then let's say if I want to, okay, I close this one with the small X and I go to the calendar. Let's go to today, because I know that we have the gardeners around. So I think there's going to be some footage when they were around. No, that was us. I think it was them. Yeah, they were just leaving with a leaf blower. So, I mean, you can see that it loads these short video clips within a couple of seconds. So I think it's you know, generally very responsive, and I think it's also fairly easy to use. These are really good recordings. It was really, you know, like a bright day, a lot of sunshine, and I turned the camera away from the sun. So I think these are probably the best type of recordings that you will ever get. And here you can also take a screenshot, you can record, and you can go to the album. So that's as easiest way to save the recordings on your phone, by using these buttons. And finally, you have a cloud button here as well. So if you want to back up these recordings over the cloud, then you can activate this cloud account, and you get a 7-day free trial, and then obviously, well, you have to pay for that. So that's the cloud option. I mean, if you are concerned that, you know, somebody's going to nick the whole camera with the SD card, then you can back up the recordings to the cloud. So at least you would have the recordings even if the camera is stolen. But otherwise, you know, using the SD card, the built-in SD card, I think is just fine. So these are the general live and review features, or review features of the camera. So everything is working fine, and again, I think, you know, very good quality. I don't have complaints about the you know, video quality, but to be honest, it's been like probably like 5 years when I have seen a camera where I would complain about the image quality at all. So nowadays, all of these cameras are getting really, really good. So you really have to look for special cases like, nighttime color vision or the nighttime sensitivity when you can find some, better or worse cameras. So that was all about that. Let's look at the various setup options and what you can do in the app. So all the setup functions are behind the small cogwheel on the top right. So you can see that this is a Q1 Max and the Wi-Fi is 78%, the battery is full. So okay. So the first option is whether you want to receive alert notifications. Well, I mean, obviously when motion is detected, then it's going to send you a notification like an Android or an iOS notification, so you can turn it off if you don't want to do that. There is also an installation guide, so you can see some, guides on how you set this up and what are the good options to install the camera and
Put camera and phone at the place of camera installation.
yeah, and it also gives you some voice prompts. So it's fairly easy to use. And you can share the device. This is the usual share. So you can create an account for your wife or somebody else, and then you can just share certain cameras to them. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to do the management, but they would be able to review the feed. Location management is all the the rooms and everything like that, and what would be the Wi-Fi network that the camera uses. The work indicator is a very small blue LED on the front of the camera, so you can turn it off if you don't want that. Then, well, you can use, there is a time setting for the timestamp, which is on the recordings, whether it's going to be 24 hours or 12 hours. And you have image settings as well. So if you operate the camera upside down, I mean, I don't think that you can put this one upside down, but that's probably relevant for some of the other cameras as well. You also have the anti-flicker, so whether you are working in a 50 or 60 hertz location, and then the same option for the full color mode that I mentioned previously. So you can read the prompt to decide what it does. And next is going to be the sound settings. So yeah, you can enable the microphone, you can enable voice recording. So again, maybe if you have an internal camera within your house, you don't want the sound to be recorded, you can turn it off. And you can control the speaker as well and set the speaker volume. The next set of options are related to the alarms and the recording. So the first is the alarm management. So that's where you can set up everything which is related to motion detection and sensitivity. So there is a like a main switch, whether you want motion detection at all, and then you have a detection sensitivity. And then, so what it said in the documentation that this really controls how far the motion detection is looking. And so obviously, if you raise it to higher levels, then it's going to be more sensitive. But you can see that it is set to 5 now, and then based on the examples that we have just seen previously, it was able to detect me about sort of like 10 meters away, as even on 5 sensitivity. And the reason I put into the sensitivity of high, because in the last few days we have some really windy weather, and then I got a lot of alarms, and I wanted to reduce those number of alarms. So this is why I've removed that. And you also have a couple of different options for the sort of the power saving and the features. So I put it into the custom mode where you can set up the human detection and the night humanoid detection. And so I'm not really sure if it has any AI feature. Usually these battery cameras wouldn't have AI features because it just needs more computing power, which is going to draw the battery more. So I think probably it can control the PIR sensor and the sensitivity. And then if you turn on the humanoid detection, definitely it would trigger on, bigger movements of like branches, or it detected that we had the clothes dryer and then the wind blew it over. So it started recording when that had fallen over and there was like, towels and everything flying around. So in general, I think with, turning on the humanoid detection, you can decrease the sensitivity. And then you can specify how long recordings to create, and then you have an alarm interval. And to be honest, I did not test this alarm interval, but maybe you can control that. If you have a motion detection, just ignore motion detections for the next 2, 5, or 10 minutes. So again, that would be useful to save battery time. And you can create an alarm plan. So if, again, you only want this alarm to be activated in certain time periods, you can just specify start and end times in various days of the week. And you can do alarm area as well. So again, it's going to load the current image or the current picture, and then you can just mark on the screen where to detect motion. So, but again, this is an interesting, because obviously the PIR sensor is not seeing what the camera is seeing. So I'm not really sure how they do that, or how good that is going to work. So maybe for the humanoid detection, they are actually looking at the image and then trying to detect a human, and this is where the alarm area is going to be useful. And you have the obligatory audio warning and strobe light, so you can turn it on, and this is what it's going to do. So I'm going to turn it off. So these are the, I would say, fairly comprehensive motion detection options. Let's go to the next option, which is the battery management. This is more like a battery review. It's not really management. So you can see that the supply is battery power, and then if this would be daytime, then it would say solar power, and electric quantity, that's basically state of charge. And then yeah, it's just just a help screen again. But then you can also view your electricity usage here. And to be honest, I mean, nowadays it's been really nice and sunny days, so I've never seen the battery percentage dropping below 90%, even with these many detections that you can see. Like past week, it looks like that I had like 1,000 alarms and 6,000 detections, and still it was running like full battery all the time. I mean, obviously, it would be in the middle of the winter with long overcast days, probably would struggle a bit. But since this is not even going below 100%, I would imagine that it would take like a couple of weeks of really cloudy weather for the battery to run down. Okay, that was the usage statistics. And then finally, we have a couple of options for cloud storage. So this is where you can set up your cloud storage. You can pay for, I haven't really checked, but I'm guessing there would be some various plans for, I don't know, monthly or yearly subscription. And then you also have the option to link this device to Alexa. So I haven't tested with anything else. In fact, I haven't even tested if there is an integration with Google Home, but it's really Alexa which is mentioned here. And you can also check for a firmware version, and there is no firmware version or new firmware version at the moment. And you can restart the camera and delete. So again, I think even the setup feature, especially the motion detection, is very comprehensive. You can really tweak it. I mean, I was playing a lot, like turning on the humanoid detection, turning it off, and also increasing the sensitivity. And for example, with the current settings, like the sensitivity is in the middle and humanoid detection is turned on, it really only sends me an alarm when somebody is passing by the camera, and I never get a false alarm, which I would say it's a really good accomplishment, because with other cameras, especially the ones that don't have PIR, it is very difficult to achieve that if the camera is outside and exposed to the elements, as in moving shadows and moving branches in the wind. So I think this is definitely thumbs up. It hasn't rained in the last couple of weeks since I tested that, so I have no idea how that would affect that, because the falling rain sometimes triggers the motion alarms as well. So that's a bit of an unknown at the moment. But I think that would be pretty much it. If you are interested in this device, I'm going to leave a link in the video description. But that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next video.